This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5 on Good Morning Indiana, with the first snowfall almost here, crews are preparing to keep your roads clear. What they're doing to make sure that you have a safe trip home this evening.
And a pilot was hurt after a helicopter crashed in a Lebanon parking lot. What officials say what went wrong during the landing.
And a firefighter has died after battling leukemia, why his job is believed to be responsible for his disease. But first, here at 5 o'clock, we do want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana on this Storm Team 6 Alert Day. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. It is also Veterans Day. We want to say thank you to those who have served our country. And we want to turn now to Todd Clausen. Todd, we are seeing something we have not seen for a long time. Some snow, possibly.
Yeah, you know, winter weather advisories are posted here across almost the entire state of Indiana as we get our first decent attempt at some snowfall here across the area. Now, as you go to work this morning on this Storm Team 6 Alert Day, you really don't have to worry about much of anything. There could be a few spotty sprinkles, and that is just about it. In general, from about noon to 4, from north to south, that's when the rain will transition over to snow. And then this evening, we'll be dealing with snow and slick spots. So it's the evening commute you really need to focus on here as far as the one you need to give more time compared to the morning one. Temperatures right now are still well above freezing. In fact, 46 in Bloomington, 40 in Lafayette. But these temperatures will start to drop dramatically across the area as the colder air comes in. So we're dry right now, but again, a few sprinkles develop here throughout the morning. The main snow band is to our north. It starts as some rain showers here across parts of the area before the transition over to snow. And here is that winter weather advisory, with the exception of a couple counties there to the north, the whole entire state under a winter weather advisory. So plan ahead for this evening. It starts off mainly dry, 40 degrees by the noon hour. We're down to freezing as we transition that rain over to snow. We'll use TrueCast and show you the hour-by-hour timeline coming up, Lauren, in just a few minutes.
And Todd, the good news right now is your morning commute is dry, and here's a look at your drive times coming in from the west side, Ronald Reagan Parkway over to I-65 at the south split. It's a 12-minute drive at this hour, so no delays. Let's take a live look right now at traffic here in the downtown area, I-65 and I-70 at the north split. You can see everything here is traveling up to speed. We'll continue to keep a close eye on those roads and keep you updated on any issues. Well, central Indiana is preparing for its first snowfall of the season, and it's expected to impact the evening commute.
Both INDOT and DPW say they are ready for whatever Mother Nature has in store. And our Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with all the details. Kelsey, good morning.
Good morning. So yeah, it'll be around lunchtime when you start seeing INDOT and DPW crews, out here putting salt down on the roads. Now, officials say trucks will be on the interstates around noon, pre-treating the ground ahead of any potential snow or ice. Their main focus being bridges and overpasses. The full fleet of plows and salt trucks will be on the roads from about 4 p.m. to 10 o'clock tonight. Whatever happens or doesn't happen, officials say it's the perfect time to get reacquainted with the basic rules of winter driving.
We always say that whether it's construction season or winter weather, take a look at those temperatures. If they're near freezing, you could have some frost on the ground. You could have some ice on the ground, some black ice. You never know what could be out there. So take your time, slow down, maybe give yourself a couple extra minutes, and also give the cars in front of you some room.
So you want to be prepared to see dozens of salt and plow trucks out this afternoon into the evening hours. And remember not to follow the plow trucks and the salt trucks too closely. This is also another good time just to remind you to download that Storm Shield app so you can stay updated on this evening's forecast. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. A Lebanon man was critically injured after a crash on I-65 near Lebanon Sunday. When officers arrived at the scene around 8:30 in the morning, they found the car flipped over near Perryworth Road. Investigators say the car crossed the middle and right lanes and rolled through a ditch. The driver suffered minor injuries. A passenger, 54-year-old Damon DeBard, was thrown from the car and taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Police do not know what caused the car to go off the road, and they are still investigating.
A helicopter pilot that was attempting to land at a business up in Boone County is recovering this morning. Around 1:30 Sunday afternoon, Lebanon police were called to XPO Logistics sticks on South Mount Zion Road. When they arrived at the scene, they found the crashed helicopter in the parking lot. Police say 3 people were on board at the time. They are contractors from Chicago who had been working on the building. Authorities say the pilot was attempting to land in the lot near parked semis.
The early investigation, it looks like they had just landed, and upon landing, they may have, one of the blades on either the top or the back of the helicopter may have struck a semi-trailer.
The pilot was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. The other 2 people on board were not hurt. The FAA is taking over this investigation.
Decatur Township is mourning the loss of one of their firefighters this morning. Lieutenant Tracy Hayden died yesterday after fighting leukemia. 38-year-old Hayden was just diagnosed in April. According to the Supporting Heroes website, the disease is believed to be the result of exposure to toxic chemicals when he investigated a chemical storage fire. The diagnosis came less than 4 years after he was exposed to those chemicals. Hayden joined the fire department in 2002. He is survived by his wife and 2 young sons. Details on his funeral have yet to be announced.
At 5:05, 17 Indiana State Park sites will close their gates to visitors for a pair of 2-day deer hunts in the coming weeks. Those hunts are scheduled for November 18th and 19th and December 2nd and 3rd. The Indiana DNR says deer reduction hunts will help to fight the overpopulation so plants and other animals can survive. This year's hunts come after the state appeals court rejected a lawsuit challenging the DNR's authority to allow hunters armed with rifles into state parks. Go to the DNR website for a complete list of parks included in the deer reduction hunts.
This morning we have a wonderful update to a story we brought you last week. Missing bulldog Hadley, well, she is now back home. Just take a look at this video the family shared showing the moment they got her back. The family says a couple from Avon contacted them yesterday after finding Hadley on the west side near Washington Street and Raceway Road. This comes after she was missing for a week after getting loose from their home in Whiteland. Someone found Hadley last Saturday, took her to the Johnson County Animal Shelter and had her scanned for a microchip. But since the shelter did not require those people to leave the dog there, her finders took her, saying they would contact the family, but they never did. They say they do not believe the couple who did find her was the original person who took her to the shelter. The family is just so thankful she is back home and safe. And here at 5:07, Todd, now is the time, if you're going to take the dog out this morning, to do so because it's warmer than it's going to be the rest of the day.
Yeah, this is the warmest point of the entire day. Temperatures will fall from this point going forward, and it will not be pleasant later on this afternoon. So, yeah, if you need to run some errands, kind of prepare for the first snow of the season, this morning is the time to do it, as temperatures are still in the 40s. And for the most part, your morning commute is going to be dry. By the time we get to 8 a.m., we'll start to introduce the chance of a few rain showers across the area. And that's the thing. During the morning hours, for most of us, any precipitation we do see is going to be in the form of plain old rain. Here is the snow, though, from Milwaukee to Chicago back to Waterloo, Iowa. This is going to be dropping down to the south. Out ahead of it, though, we are expecting some precipitation to fill in. But again, that'll be mainly in the form of rainfall here this morning. So here's how your day plans out as a whole. And I'm showing you the entire day because a lot happens here. It's 42 degrees at 10 a.m. By the time we get to 4 p.m., we're down to near freezing. So with the colder air coming in, that's when we transition the rain over to snow. Your evening commute potentially going to be a pretty slick one across the area, and then we'll taper the snow off by late this evening. But look at those temperatures all the way down into the 20s. So winter weather advisories are already posted. If that would change, download the Storm Shield app, and that would alert you to that. You can also watch the snow on your radar as it makes its way here through central Indiana with that feature on the app as well. It's completely free. Download that. We'll talk more about the snow heading our way and potential accumulation coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Public hearings are scheduled to begin this week in the impeachment inquiry. Coming up, the allegations now coming from former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley.
And Warner Brothers Studios threatened by wildfire still had the newest blaze damaging Southern California.
And here's a live look right now at traffic over on the west side, I-465 and I-74, where everything's traveling up to speed, both northbound and southbound. We'll continue to keep you updated on any issues that may impact your Monday morning commute. Stick around. We'll be right back after this short break.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
A busy week on this Veterans Day for President Trump. The commander-in-chief set to speak in New York City a few hours from now as the impeachment inquiry goes public this week. Prosecutors in the Big Apple continue to quietly investigate President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. ABC's Megan Teverizian has the latest on the probe as well as the explosive allegations from former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley.
The impeachment inquiry about to enter a new phase, going public this week. Expected up first, William Taylor, the top diplomat in Ukraine, who already testified behind closed doors. It was clear millions in military aid would be withheld unless there was an investigation into the president's political rivals. An arrangement Taylor called crazy.
This is a very strong case of bribery.
Republicans want to hear from the anonymous whistleblower who first raised the flag.
If they don't call the whistleblower in the House, this thing is dead on arrival in the Senate.
This comes as former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, in a new memoir out this week, claims former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and White House Chief of Staff John Kelly undermined and ignored the president because they were trying to save the country. Haley spoke to CBS Sunday Morning about that exchange.
It definitely happened.
It absolutely happened. And instead of saying that to me, they should have been saying that to the president, not asking me to join them on their sidebar plan. It should have been, go tell the president what your differences are and quit if you don't like what he's doing.
And now the New York Times is reporting a lawyer for one of Rudy Giuliani's indicted associates told them Giuliani directed him to deliver an ultimatum to the Ukrainian government that the U.S. would freeze aid if the country did not investigate Joe Biden and his son Hunter. There is no evidence Joe or Hunter Biden have done any wrongdoing, and President Trump and Rudy Giuliani have repeatedly denied these claims. Megan Teverizian, ABC News, New York.
Facebook says it is removing content mentioning the possible names of the person who sparked the Trump impeachment probe. They announced that any potential name of the whistleblower will be taken down. Facebook says mentioning the name violates coordinating harm policy, which prohibits outing a witness, informant, or activist. The social media giant says it will revisit the decision if the name becomes widely publicized.
It is 5:14. Protesters out in Washington, D.C. say that vaping products should remain on sale in the U.S. The rally was put on by the United Vapors Alliance near the White House this weekend to advocate for vaping. The group says all vaping products should still be sold despite the recent outbreak of lung illnesses connected to vaping. Protesters say the Trump administration, the FDA's bans on flavored vapes are hurting businesses.
In essence, President Trump's proposal that he has possibly backed away from would shut down over 10,000 small businesses here in America, put over 100,000 Americans out of work, and that's why all these people are here today.
Recently, the number of vaping-related lung injuries has soared to more than 2,000, with 39 deaths across the country.
A 7-year-old boy is fighting for his life after falling from a 9th-floor apartment window in the Bronx. According to police, the boy, who has autism, pushed the paneling next to an air conditioning unit out of the way, which caused him to fall through the window in his bedroom. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. A family friend says the child suffered broken bones and bleeding in his brain. His mother was home when the incident happened. Police are still investigating.
It is 5:15. The Warner Brothers studio in Burbank, California had to be evacuated because of a nearby wildfire. The LA Fire Department says the bar and brush fire broke out over the weekend. The studio was evacuated as a precaution. The fire has burned around 80 acres in the area, but none have been reported. There's been no reports of buildings being damaged. Officials encourage residents there to stay inside their homes that have not issued any evacuation orders. At this hour, the fire is nearly 80% contained. Fire officials are still investigating the cause. Back here at home at 5:16, we want to check in with Todd on a Storm Team 6 alert day. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, for the first time really this season, I got the snow falling around me, so whether you like it or not, it's heading our way. As we get into the afternoon hours, that is the good news in our forecast. The morning commute should be just fine. Your evening commute, you need to plan ahead. If you haven't thrown that snow brush in your car, make sure you do that this morning as well. So as we go throughout the day, our temperatures are going to fall. It's really not all that bad out there right now. Temperatures are in the 40s, but will be near freezing by the time we get to the evening drive. That's why the rain is going to head over to some snow as we go throughout the day, and I mentioned the evening drive. So Storm Team 6 radar is completely quiet right now all across the area. As we expand out, you notice some precipitation starting to fill in here in central Illinois. That should be the case here in Indiana as the morning goes on. This morning, though, it's all in the form of just some plain old rain showers. The snow, the heavier precipitation, and the colder air is still lingering off to our north. So eventually that's going to start to make its way into our area, but it's not going to happen until the afternoon hours for most of us. So as we work our way through the morning drive, again, a hit or miss shower is possible, so don't be shocked if you see that. As we get into the middle half or the latter half of the morning, still some rain showers across the area, still pretty dry to the south, but the transition to snow already happening here in northern locations. As we work our way into the 1-2 o'clock hour, that's the time frame we're targeting for the transition to start to happen here in the metro area. And by 4 o'clock, it should be snowing across most of the area. And then the snow is going to taper off as we work our way into the evening hour. So it's really, I would say, from about 2 to 8 o'clock that we'll be dealing with this snow across central Indiana. Now, initially with temperatures that are going to be up in the 40s here this morning, plus yesterday it was pretty warm across the area. Not while the snow is going to accumulate on the roadways right away, but as the temperatures drop and the intensity of the snow picks up, then we'll start to see some accumulating, especially as soon as the sun starts to set right around 5:30. That's when the bulk of accumulation will take place on the roadways. It will accumulate on the grass, about 1 to 3 inches in northern locations, 1 to 2 inches here through much of central Indiana. And then once you get south of Bedford and Seymour, it's probably up to 1 inch of snow. As far as those temperatures go, again, 40s here this morning with a few rain showers. The colder air starts to come in this afternoon, transitioning over to that snow between 1 and 2 o'clock with temperatures right around 35 degrees. And then we're down to freezing at 5 p.m. So I really think from 5 p.m. onward is when you need to be the most cautious on the roadways. Again, the sun is setting, the temperatures are getting close to freezing, and at that point the intensity of the snow starts to pick up. And then look at these temperatures tomorrow morning. We are talking about lows down to 11 in Lafayette, 14 in Indianapolis, 15 in Columbus. The record low for tomorrow is 14 degrees, so potentially breaking a record low temperature, unfortunately, for tomorrow. Tomorrow's high with sunshine, only 25 degrees, down to 12 degrees on Wednesday morning, up to 33, and then still below normal, but temperatures back into the 40s, Lauren, for the latter half of the week.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on your roads this morning, and here is a live look up on the northeast side, I-465 and I-69, where traffic's moving along just fine, both northbound and southbound. Let's take a look at our maps right now and plan out your commute if you're heading in from the west side of town. Traveling through the Brownsburg area here to the west side, it's a 7-minute drive from State Road 267 all the way over to the I-465 ramps. No delays there to slow you down. So let's take a look right now at I-465, a little north of I-70 over on the east side. You can see traffic here is moving along just fine this morning. We'll keep an eye out for any crashes or delays and keep you updated as you head out there.
A Florida man is suing Madonna and Live Nation for changing the times of her concerts. Nate Hollander says he bought 3 tickets to Madonna's December show, spending more than $1,000. He claims the show was originally scheduled for 8:30 in August when he bought the tickets, but was later changed to 10:30 in October. Hollander says the time change made the show too late and he didn't want to go anymore. He said he was also not offered a refund. The lawsuit claims the change was a breach of contract between the singer and ticket buyer. Madonna and Live Nation have not commented on the suit.
Nearly 1 million poppies fell in England on Sunday in remembrance of those who died during World War I. The poppies were dropped by a World War II plane which flew on D-Day. It was part of the United Kingdom ceremony always held on the Sunday closest to November 11th, the day the World War I ended. Many in the Commonwealth refer to this day as Remembrance Day, while Americans call it Veterans Day.
And we're preparing for snow, but in Florida, it's raining monkeys. After the break, the crazy encounter one man caught on camera.
And with winter almost here, really today, we're making sure that you're prepared. Working for you, Kevin Gregory and our team of meteorologists show you what you can expect all winter long. Plus, we find out if potholes are going to be a major issue for your commute. And we also go behind the scenes to see how schools decide whether or not to cancel classes and what you can do with your kids during a last-minute snow day. Join us for an RTV6 News special, Weathering Winter in Indiana, Tuesday at 8 p.m. only here on RTV6. We'll be right back.
At Ross, yes for less.
A man enjoying a day at a Florida park almost went bananas when it started raining monkeys, and he caught it all on camera. Take a look. A kayakster was relaxing at Silver Springs State Park when he heard a loud belly flop. Well, it turns out it was monkeys diving into the water from the trees above. He says they were being forced from the trees by larger male monkeys. The park is home to about 300 rhesus monkeys, which are native to Asia.
Interesting. Well, in a rare event today, you can watch the planet Mercury move right across the sun. It's called the Mercury Transit, and NASA says it won't be seen from North America again for another 30 years. Starting around 7:30 this morning, Mercury will move from one side of the sun to the other over the course of about 5 hours. Just like during an eclipse, you'll need to use a solar filter to see it, since looking directly at the sun can cause permanent eye damage. Scientists recommend using a telescope or a projection box.
And Mercury is also currently in retrograde right now, so if you're feeling a little off this morning, you can blame it on that. Or you could blame it on the forecast that Todd is about to tell us about.
That or the Colts lost yesterday. I mean, there's a lot of things. And, I'm not bringing the best news to follow that up. Yeah, that's for sure. But need to let you know, as you get out the door this morning, you're okay. Temperatures are still in the 30s and even mid-40s. And anything you do see this morning will be in the form of just some plain old rain showers. However, we have a winter weather advisory for the entire state of Indiana. In fact, much of the Midwest. And that is because rain will change to snow across the area. Your evening commute is going to be a slick one. Several inches of snow are heading our way as we work our way throughout the evening hours. Don't be deceived by that 41. That is about where we are right now. Temperatures will be near freezing by the time we get to 5 p.m. tonight. We'll talk all about it coming up in the next half hour.
$5,000 missing. What it means for this veteran and his health. That story at 6 a.m. when I join Meredith and Lauren on Good Morning Indiana.
And let's take a live look outside right now. If you're heading out the door to kick off your Monday, here's a look in the downtown area at your drive. I-65 and I-70 at the North Split. No problems here. Stick around. We'll be right back after this short break with news, weather, and traffic on Good Morning Indiana.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Straight ahead at 5:30 today, the nation pauses to say thanks to the men and women who have served in the armed forces.
But for one local organization, this is a year-round call. Rafael Sanchez talks with members at HVAF who help Hoosier veterans in need. And winter weather returns to central Indiana today.
And our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live with the details on how INDOT and DPW are gearing up to make sure that your roads are ready for that evening commute. So speaking of the weather, we want to get the timing on everything we're expecting today.
Yes, it's not happening for a few more hours, and meteorologist Todd Clausen is standing by to let us know when it is all going to occur. But Todd, right now, surprisingly, is going to be the nicest part of the day.
Yeah, definitely the warmest day and probably the driest part of the day, Meredith. You're exactly right. So as you start to think about this day, I really need you to focus on 2 o'clock onward. I think that's when things are going to start to go downhill. The rain changes, the snow, the wind picks up, and the temperatures really start to fall off. Right now, it's in the 40s in most locations, and as you see behind me, Storm Team 6 radar is completely quiet for us. As we go throughout the morning hours, though, don't be shocked if you see a sprinkle or two for your morning commute, but there is no threat of any wintry weather or any freezing that's going to occur during your morning drive. All the snow is to the north. That's where the heaviest of the precipitation is, and obviously with the snow, that's where the colder air is. So it's going to take a little while for one, this precipitation to move south, and two, the colder air to change that rain over to snow showers. But eventually we will get there, and that's why the National Weather Service has the entire state under a winter weather advisory, and extends into Ohio as well as Illinois. So here's how your day plans out. Some spotty showers this morning, still in the 40s through about the noon hour, but soon as that cold front comes through, temperatures drop very, very quickly. We'll be near freezing by 4 p.m. That's when the rain changes over to snow. That's when the evening commute starts, and especially once that sun sets this evening, which is around 5:30, a little after, and that's when we'll run into the biggest risk of the snow accumulating on the roadways. And to talk more about the preparations for the roadways, we're going to go outside right now to Kelsey Anderson.
Yeah, Todd, so yeah, like you said, it is supposed to start, going to affect your evening commute. So right now you can see the morning commute is moving pretty smoothly, but it'll be around lunchtime that you will start to see INDOT and DTW trucks begin to pre-treat the roads. Officials say trucks will be on the interstates around noon, pre-treating the ground ahead of any potential snow or ice. Their main focus being bridges and overpasses. The full fleet of plows and salt trucks will be on the roads from about 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.
That salt is protecting your car. It's protecting everyone else on the interstates from a crash, from anything that could happen from bad weather. So we will always go out there and pre-treat the second we are able to, and ultimately keeps everyone safe.
You can expect to see salt trucks and snow plows out on the roads from noon until 10 o'clock tonight. So be sure to give them and other drivers plenty of room. Now, this is a good time to remind you of good winter driving practices. That's giving yourself extra time to get where you need to go, not speeding, and making sure that you're giving extra room between you and other drivers on the road. It's also a good time to remind you to download that Storm Shield app. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. And right now on your roads, things are looking pretty good. As we've said, it may be more of a problem for your evening commute. So here's a live look right now over on the east side. Traffic starting to pick up a little bit this morning here at I-70 and Arlington Avenue, but it's traveling up to speed, so that is great news. Let's take a look at some drive times planning out your commute here, heading southbound from the northwest side on I-65. From I-865 in the Dogleg down to I-70 at the North Split, it's a 17-minute drive, so everything is green. Traveling up to speed for you coming in from the northwest side. So let's take a look at it. I-65 in Lafayette Road. This is what we're talking about, the northwest side moving along up to speed. Of course, we'll keep you updated. We do want to turn now to some developing news. This is over on the city's east side. Police are investigating after a man was shot and killed last night. This happened on the 1500 block of Tina Marie Circle, just off North German Church Road. Officers arrived at that scene around 6 o'clock in the evening and found a man lying just outside of a vehicle. He was transported to the hospital where he later died. Homicide detectives are investigating, and right now there is no word on any suspects, and we're still waiting to learn that victim's identity. So anyone with any information, please call police.
Also developing this morning, police continue to investigate after 3 teens were shot Saturday night on the west side. This happened around 9 p.m. on North Livingstone Avenue near West 16th Street and North Tibbs Avenue. Police tell us 2 of the victims were found outside. 1 person was found inside the home. The victims range in age from 13 to 16 years old. All 3 are reportedly stable at this time and are expected to survive.
Former Roncalli guidance counselor Shelley Fitzgerald is sharing parts of her faith journey. Speaking to her church on Sunday, she said her faith has been instrumental in her life. Fitzgerald was fired after the Archdiocese of Indianapolis found out about her marriage to her wife of 23 years. That decision prompted an outcry from many fellow Catholics and the Indianapolis LGBTQ community. Fitzgerald says in a moment her life was changed forever, and since then she's focused on becoming a public advocate for what she calls progress in the church and beyond.
My hope is just to continue advocating for people who want to be a part of the church, advocating for people who want to be a part of Roncalli, of the Archdiocese. I don't want people to leave the church. I don't want people to, I want to work on making it better so that everybody feels safe and welcome there.
Fitzgerald has filed a federal lawsuit against Roncalli in the Archdiocese of Indianapolis for what she calls their wrongful and lawful discrimination against her. The suit alleges that the church did not take similar action against other employees whose actions contradict Catholic Church teachings. In a statement, the Archdiocese says if the school's leader rejects core aspects of the Catholic faith, it undermines the school's ability to accomplish its mission. On this Veterans Day, the nation honors those who serve.
At the same time, local veterans are taking action to help those who once wore the uniform and are now living in crisis. Our Rafael Sanchez reports on those who are on a personal call to duty.
The chili was the draw. But the drive to support local veterans came in the form of canned food, clothing, and cash, all brought to American Legion Post 3 in Broad Ripple.
The winters are hard. Indiana's weather is terrible. So I think, our responsibility is not to just drive by. Our responsibility is to dig in, see what the problem is, and partner up with organizations that are walking hand in hand with those people and serve them better.
Mike Melton has been in the National Guard for a decade. Nina Powell has served in the Guard for 6 years, and Veterans Day, she says, is a day to share with family.
this is part of our family tradition too, just reaching back and showing my children all the people that came before them so that we can have a safe place to live.
On this Veterans Day 2019, here's the current situation right here in this city. The group HVAF, which helps many veterans, says that every Tuesday and Thursday, they're helping at least 200 veterans with assistance. Robert White is an Air Force veteran. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan. He's with the group HVAF, which stands for Helping Veterans and Families. He says the critical need for hundreds of veterans, housing, and jobs.
They need an opportunity to thrive, to excel. So giving an opportunity where you may have an organization that you represent that could utilize veteran talent in regards to employment opportunities.
Recognition of that and other needs is as key as the reverence and the remembrance of all those who've served in every branch under the stars and stripes. Working for you in Indianapolis, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
The group HVAF is based out of Indianapolis. They can be reached at 317-951-0688. Mike tells RTV6 that he hopes to hold another chili cook-off next year to raise money and collect more food for fellow veterans.
And with freezing temperatures and possible snowfall expected later today, that Veterans Day parade scheduled for today in downtown Indianapolis has been canceled. The Veterans Day Council of Indianapolis called off the parade, saying those conditions could create a dangerous situation for people marching, and it could also hinder the operations to clear the roads along the parade route. Veterans Day service will also move from the north steps of the World War Memorial to the Pershing Auditorium inside. That service is scheduled to begin at 11 a.m. And so speaking of the weather and the timing on this Storm Team 6 alert day, let's check in with Todd.
And it's all quiet here this morning. That is the good news, Lauren. As you walk out the door, if you're doing so within the next hour or so, I think you're completely dry. So getting kind of in the heart of the morning drive, I do think that we'll start to see some rain showers across the area, but there is no threat of any snow in the forecast here this morning. That's still all lingering to our north. However, as we get into the afternoon and evening hours, that's when all this is going to start to drop down to the south, and that's when we're going to really start to run into some issues as the colder air is going to come rushing in behind this cold front that is going to provide the colder air and then also the snow. So as the kids head off to the bus stop this morning, you really need to bundle them up. I know it's not super cold out there right now with temperatures that are hovering right around 40 degrees. But once the kids come home from school and you come home from work, at that point, it should be snowing across the area. The temperature is down to near freezing and the wind picks up. So that's going to put wind chills down in the 20s. So you need to prepare the kids for later on this afternoon. So as they do walk out the door this morning, obviously you need the jacket, but send them with the hat and gloves as well. We'll talk more about the snowfall totals for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Former ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, says two top White House aides tried to get her to undermine the president. Straight ahead, we'll tell you who and what her response was.
And 2 U.S. airlines are extending their groundings of the Boeing 737 MAX planes. Details on that and when you could see the planes take the skies again. But first, here at 541, let's get a check of our traffic. Here's a live look at your drive through downtown. No problems here at the North Split. Stick around. We'll be right back after this break.
Doctor about Chantix.
Welcome back. Let's take a live look right now at I-65 and West Street and MLK here. As you're traveling there on the near north side heading towards downtown, looks like traffic is really picking up through this area, but it's still traveling up to speed. We'll keep a close eye out for any crashes or delays and keep you updated this morning. Here at 544, more than 120 brush fires are burning across Australia right now, creating what fires call a catastrophic condition. 3,300 square miles of forest and farmland have been destroyed all since Friday.
A state of emergency is now in place in Queensland and South Wales. Mandatory evacuation orders are in place as conditions are expected to worsen in the coming days. At least 3 people have been killed. 7 more are missing. Humans aren't the only ones being impacted either. Officials say an estimated 350 koalas are feared dead because of the fires. Brush fires are common in Australia's hot, dry summers, but the current outbreak caught many by surprise. And in Hong Kong, another weekend of violence as protests enter their 23rd week. A 21-year-old person was shot early this morning as protesters disrupted the morning commute. Officials say that person is now in critical condition. This is the third time police have shot someone with live rounds since the Hong Kong protests began in June. Opposition to a now withdrawn extradition bill have dragged on for 5 months. Protesters have 5 major demands, including an independent inquiry into alleged police brutality and wider demographic reforms.
Back here in the U.S., demonstrators are lining up outside of the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. ahead of a hearing on the DACA case. About 30 people began waiting outside the court on Sunday, some holding places for others. The court will hear oral arguments tomorrow. The case is over President Trump's decision to end the Obama-era Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which shields young undocumented immigrants from deportation. The court's decision will affect about 700,000 young immigrants trying to stay here in the U.S.
Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley says 2 top Trump aides try to recruit her to undermine the president. The claim was made in Haley's forthcoming book titled With All Due Respect, according to the Washington Post. The paper received a copy ahead of its release, which is set for Tuesday. In the book, Haley says former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and former White House Chief of Staff John Kelly tried to get her to undermine President Trump in an effort to, quote, save the country, but she refused. Neither Tillerson nor Kelly has responded to the claim.
At 5:47, 2 major U.S. airlines have announced plans to pull the Boeing 737 MAX planes from their schedules through early March. Southwest and American say they will not schedule 737 MAX flights until the first week of March. Southwest has previously removed the jets from its flight schedules through early February, while American Airlines had expected to fly the planes again in early January. The planes have been grounded since March of this year following 2 deadly crashes in Ethiopia and Indonesia, which killed 350 people.
4 African-American women who worked at NASA during the space race will be given the highest civilian award in the U.S. Christine Darden, Mary Jackson, Katherine Johnson, and Dorothy Vaughan will be awarded with the Congressional Medals of Honor. The women played pivotal roles in World War II aircraft testing and helped land the first man on the moon in 1969. Their accomplishments inspired the 2016 movie Hidden Figures. A 5th medal will be awarded in recognition of all the women who served as computers, mathematicians, and engineers between the 1930s and the 1970s. Here at 5:48 on your Monday morning, it is a Storm Team 6 alert day. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, a lot going on in the forecast here in Marinette, so we're in alert mode really for several reasons. The most quiet part of the day is what's happening right now outside, and it's also the warmest part of the day. So eventually we're going to transition from rain over to snow as the day goes on, as those temperatures fall really for the entire day. And eventually by this evening, it gets very slick after sunset. So you remember back to yesterday, temperatures were nice and mild. We had the sunshine, temperatures still well above freezing right now. So it's going to take a little while for the snow to accumulate on the roadways. However, when you lose the sunshine this time of year, there's a big difference when snow is falling during the daytime hours or at night. That's why I think once we get to this evening, you notice the temperatures are at that point down to 32 degrees and we lose the sunshine. That's when we start to see some accumulation on the roadways. So we're not bad here temperature-wise through the noon hour, and then it really starts to fall off, and these temperatures don't even factor in the wind. Wind chill values will be down into the teens as we work our way into the late evening hours. So winter weather advisory here for almost the entire state. This will go into effect here this morning and last all the way until 8 a.m. tomorrow. Tomorrow morning is very cold. The snow is over late tonight, but there's going to be no melting going on, and certainly some refreezing throughout the overnight hours, so be aware of that. So Storm Team 6 radar is quiet right now. We'll watch for some spotty sprinkles to develop here throughout the morning hours, but the bulk of the snow is up to our north still, and that's what's going to drop down as that colder air starts to come in. So here's how it plays out for you on TrueCast. Again, morning commute, don't be shocked, especially the tail end of it in northern locations, if you start to see some rain showers. As we work our way into the noonish hour, rain showers in and around the metro area, still dry to the south. Southern locations, takes a little while for you to get into any any form of precipitation, but the snow changeover already taking place in northern locations, targeting right around 2 o'clock-ish, a little before, a little after, depending what side of town you're on through the metro area. Still rain to the south. Probably doesn't change to snow in southern locations until late this afternoon into the evening hours, but this is the time frame after 4 or 5 o'clock that I think the bulk of the accumulation will take place on the roadways. Could accumulate on the grassy areas, obviously, before that. And we're looking at generally a 1 to 3 inch snowfall for most of the area. Could be some areas here to the north with a little lake effect enhancement that picks up a little bit more, but I think 1 to 3 inches in general is what we can expect here throughout the course of the day. And here are those temperatures I was talking about tomorrow morning, that there could be some slick spots remaining on the roadways. Some areas could get down into the single digits, not out of the question. About 14 in Indianapolis. The record low for tomorrow is 14 degrees as well, set back in 1911. So we deal with the snow, potentially record-breaking temperatures. Wednesday morning, we're down to 12 degrees. However, the record is 10 degrees for the day on Wednesday. Tomorrow's high is only 25 degrees, 33 on Wednesday, then finally back up into the 40s as we work our way towards the end of the week. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a look at traffic right now as you're driving on the northeast side on southbound I-69. You can expect a 13-minute drive from State Road 13 down to the I-465 ramp, so everything there is traveling smoothly. Let's take a look right now over on the east side. Here's your drive at I-70 near Sherman Drive. Everything's traveling up to speed both eastbound and westbound. We'll keep a close eye out for any crashes this morning.
Every year on Veterans Day, we pause to honor the 19.6 million active and former U.S. service members who have served our country. Since Veterans Day is a federal holiday, that means some businesses will be closed. Government agencies like the DMV, Post Office, and others will be closed today. Most banks are also going to be closed. National parks across the U.S. are open, and they won't be charging any admission.
And speaking of Veterans Day, several restaurants are offering free meals to vets and active duty service members today. Sonny's Barbecue is offering free pulled or sliced pork big deal combo meal. Hot Cat is offering a free meal and a soft drink to any veteran or active duty service member. Chipotle is offering a buy one get one free deal, and Metro Diner is offering 50% off your meal. Time right now is 5:52. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
We are the world's largest wood floor refinisher.
Welcome back. Sometimes we all need to find ways to keep our jobs interesting, and so one Ontario man really does it in style. Just take a look at this construction worker outside of the CBC news station here. He's keeping himself active during his downtime with this shovel. Wow, swordplay here. We're not sure if he's a Star Wars fan or former color guard performer or just a big fan of swords, but he definitely has a handle on that routine. He's really talented there.
That is. I would probably whack myself in the face.
I know.
Yeah, if I tried that type
And
of
hey,
trick.
a lot of people may be able to practice this at home today. Just kidding. I don't know if you'll have to shovel any snow.
I sure hope not.
Maybe in the coming weeks.
Todd?
They might be using a snow shovel there to twirl.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting hit in the face, we're going to get hit in the face with some snowflakes later on this afternoon, and quite a bit of wind. It's not bad this morning, and this is the warmest part of the day with temperatures in the mid-40s, and Storm Team 6 radar is completely quiet. Here is the snow to our north. We start off actually with probably some rain showers developing this morning, and then this colder air comes rushing in. So as you start to plan your day out, you really need to plan for later on compared to what's happening right now. We're in the 40s through the noon hour. The wind picks up, the temperatures plummet, near freezing by the time we get to 4 p.m. At that point, should be snowing across the area. We'll talk about potential snow accumulations for you coming up in the next half hour.
Todd, thank you. Coming up in the next half hour, a Hoosier veteran owed thousands of dollars turned to RTV6 when he kept getting the runaround. Rafael Sanchez has his story plus details on how other vets can make sure the same thing doesn't happen to them.
And it's your chance to see the dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy in person. Coming up at 6 o'clock, you're going to want to watch for the word of the day to win tickets to see Indianapolis Ballet's The Nutcracker. It's 5:57. We'll be right back.